Hey guys, James here, and I'm not doing like a physical recording just because I'm lazy right now. But 2025 is to an end for Death Battle, and next is 2026. I waited to do a prediction video until Ash Yugi came out because I was thinking we'll probably get shown what the next time is, what the premiere is, because you know what they did was create Mungai showing Kratos. I was wrong on that. Instead, we got a teaser, which was hella fucking vague, but we did get some guesses out of it. And kind of using a mix of that and also just what I think is generally likely for next year. I kind of made a little bit of a prediction thing. And we're only going to get 12 episodes. Well, they said that it's possible there could be more than 12, but chances are it's probably going to be 12 episodes every 4 weeks. I believe there won't be one in January. We'll probably find out what the premiere is in January, at some point in that. And then early February would be when the episode releases. So probably maybe early January we'll learn. Because it's kind of a break month for them. I don't know. I'm going off of, how 25 started with Kratos. But, yeah. I have 12 matchups in particular I want to discuss. But because this is, like, 4 less than normal, I have a couple of, like, alternative ideas that I could definitely see maybe being the case for what might be in, 2026. I keep wanting to say 2025. So, and keep in mind it's all, like, speculation for the most part, and just, okay, what seems likely. I could be proven wrong with, like, episode 1 of 26. So, yeah, I don't really have much more to open with this, I believe. So we'll just, we'll go straight into talking about some matchups here. So I'm gonna just lump these two together, and, fuck it, I guess also like Columbo. But, Aang versus the Traveler and Gru versus Megamind. I'm lumping these two together and just getting them out of the way right away because, I mean, we know them. They're the remaining Kickstarter matchups. Like Columbo is going to be a bonus episode, but they said it should be releasing at some point this year. They finally locked down what they want to do with it seems. So I feel like that's going to be like middle of the year. But Aang Traveler and Grumine, these are the remaining Kickstarter matchups. I feel like they'll probably be early 26, if not like one of them premiering it. I could maybe see Gru vs Megamind being like the premiere. I'm not doing this in, like, the order. I think it'll be, like, a couple, like, besides, like, maybe a couple at the end. But, more so just, I want to get the obvious ones out of the way. But Gru vs Megamind and Aang Traveler, we already know these are coming up, so, just gotta get them out there right away. And then, Kamen Rider Geats versus Nero, whatever her last name is, I didn't write it down. I have this one separated because, one, it wasn't part of the Kickstarter, but two, this was confirmed to happen at some point through the Tournament of Champions, but it might not be in 2026. I don't think they ever specifically said this is going to confirm they're getting an episode in 2026. Instead, it's just they're going to get an episode at some point. And the reason why I think it's possible it couldn't be in fucking 26 is because there's a lot to look into with these two. From my understanding, for Geats and Nero, you have to look into not just like the parts they come from in Kamen Rider and Fate, but you also have to look into like the entirety of Kamen Rider and Fate, as well as Super Sentai for Geats. So that's a lot of shit to look into. Apparently, like, Nero's, her story alone is, like, fucking 60 days. From what I've heard from, I think it was Hyper in the Death Battle Judgment server. Again, this is all going by heard, because I'm not familiar with Geats and Nero. But there's a lot to research, and these are both franchises they haven't really touched on it before, so I feel like this would either, if it's going to be in 26, it'll either be, like, November or December. Or if it's not in 26, some point in 27, maybe that first half. But it is possible we don't have it here. So I will put in an alternative option And I'm gonna have like 1 to 3 alts for like each of these going forward. Being Gohan versus Ultraman Zero. Just because, I mean, Dragon Ball, we're probably going to get more Dragon Balls. I say that, and I don't have any Marvel or DC on my, like, the main list speculations, but, I mean, like, yeah, it's Dragon Ball. From what I could tell, this seems to be, like, the matchup for Gohan they like the most, judging by, like, from ballot banters and shit. It's fairly popular. I know Ultraman is also, like, a fairly requested series. Is one of those ones people question how has it not gotten on yet, because it's a big classic. I don't know if they would have like Kamen Rider and Ultraman in like the same year, so that's kind of why I'm putting it here as like an alternative. But yeah, there's also Cell versus Metal Sonic, but we technically did just get a Metal Sonic episode. I don't know how quickly we'll get another. But, yeah, that's, Geats and Nero, and all the ones that we know for a fact are coming. Now, looking at the trailer, or the teaser, Yusuke versus Ichigo, because, in one of the images I paused on, I looked at it a bit more like, wait, what is that? It turned out to be Ichigo's 2 Zanpakuto swords. I hope I said that name right. I'm not a Bleach guy. I'm getting out there now. But, from the, like, a Part 3 trailer for 1,000 Year Blood War for Bleach. So, probably getting Ichigo. I put him in the thumbnail just because I feel like he is just all but confirmed. And Yusuke seems to be, like, his most popular option that isn't Naruto. And I don't really see them doing a rematch of that one. Excuse me. I don't really see them doing another rematch right now. We did just get Chief Slayer. I don't know, maybe they might do 3 in a row, 3 seasons in a row, technically speaking. But, Yusuke versus Ichigo. I feel like this is really likely. But for some alternatives for, like, Bleach. One is, Rukia versus Noelle from, Bleach versus Black Clover. Mainly because, like, this is in DJ's top 20 when he made, like, that post record. It was, like, kind of just thrown together, I think he said. But still, it definitely seems like one he really likes. So that could be a possibility. And I know Black Clover's another series where a lot of people are requesting it to get back on after a lot of people got, you know, more adjusted to Black Clover. Like, actually went and introduced themselves to it after Deku Asta. And also, especially with Deku returning, having a Black Clover rep, Asta or someone else return would definitely be appreciated by a lot of folks. And then the other one is a You'll Watch episode. I don't have, like, a specific matchup because I don't really know what his spread is. But apparent from my understanding, the Blood War arc saying that's a You'll Watch thing. So it could be hinting at that. But since apparently it's like Ichigo's sword specifically, it'll probably be an Ichigo episode. But I wanted to throw those 2 out there as just possibilities. And the last one for like the trailer specifically, because these are vague as hell, it's hard to get a good understanding. But Rayquaza versus Bahamut. One of the scenes in the trailer, people are saying like, oh, they see Bahamut. And I don't know, I kind of was sort of seeing it, but it might not be Bahamut. It could also be some other ones, which I will talk about. But the reason why I'm kind of guessing Rayquaza Bahamut is because, like, both Final Fantasy and Pokemon, they did just look into, so I think by a research perspective, it'd probably be one of the easier ones to do. It's also a fairly popular matchup. The team seems pretty on board with the idea after the cast, which was, I think a couple years ago. And I do know, like, Rayquaza and Bahamut, like, what they researched for Pokemon and Final Fantasy for Ash and Clive. Not necessarily what would be for these 2, but I'm sure they had to dabble in it a little bit. So, I don't know, I think I could see it happening. People really want more Pokemon, and people want Final Fantasy, like, reps outside of 7, though I think that might not be as high demand now that we got Clive. But I could see Rayquaza Bahamut happening. And some other alternatives I have, 2 of them are because of this trailer specifically, is Nemesis versus Magician from Resident Evil and House of the Dead. Because I've seen some people say they're seeing, like, Nemesis in the shot that they're seeing like Bahamut in. And I think it's worth mentioning. I know Resident Evil's like one of those series that's practically always going to be relevant because Capcom keeps releasing new shit for it, be it remasters or new titles or whatever the fuck. And Magicians definitely is like a matchup for him that I've seen a lot of traction for over the years. I know the team's aware of it. They mentioned it on like Ballot Banters before. I know Delta and Project Delta, is that his name? Is a BioShock guy. And fucking Pyramid Head are also brought up, and they had casts. I'm just going to guess Magician. There's also a lot of like demand for horror. I think judging by the fact we had like 3 horror characters on the island says a lot that people want more horror. So I could see it being like Magician. Another one similar, saying both horror rep and people are kind of seeing it in the sneak peek thing, trailer, whatever. Freddy Krueger versus Pennywise. I've seen some people say they think they see Freddy Krueger in it. That's always possible. And, I mean, I could see it. It's a popular matchup. It's definitely, like, the biggest horror matchup next to fucking, Freddy Jason. And, not Freddy Jason. Fucking Jason Michael. And that already happened. So, like, I think Freddy Penny is definitely, like, next in line for, like, the most popular horror rep matchup, or at least when it comes to like movies, even though one of them's a book character, but you know what I mean. It's also one like the team does like. They did a cast on it. They had it on the Tournament of Champions. I think it did fairly well, even though it was up against like Sans Judge. I could definitely see that being like the Halloween episode. And the other one, this isn't really one that was on the thing, is Lucina versus Grovile. It's not one that I've seen anyone mention. They might have seen it in the thing. This is just like, I'm already talking about Pokemon. Might as well cover the other Pokemon matchup. It's also Fire Emblem. But reason why, it's just, it's one of the researcher and writer's favorite matchup, Cian's. I think that's how you say his name. He did Darth Vader versus Obito and Spider-Man versus Deku. It's his most wanted matchup. It seemed to be fairly well received on cast, and I don't know, like there's been a lot of references to the matchup in episodes. I know that doesn't necessarily mean it's hinting to anything, but I think it does kind of show like the team does have interest in it. So I could see that being a reality. They did mention like mystery dungeons and a black box in Ashugi, so they might have already gone through it. So that just kind of leaves Fire Emblem with Lucina. But that's also a possibility. I guess also I should mention, while I'm still on, like, trailers, some other characters I've seen, like, get thrown around. I've seen, like, Yu from Persona. I've seen Little Mac and Ippo. I've seen fucking K. Rool get thrown around. I've seen a couple get thrown around here and there. I'm not really giving them their own little spot. Lucina Grovile, also I couldn't be bothered to make a thumbnail for it. I don't care that much for it, and I don't like the renders I see. I don't like how they mesh, so I'm using the one from the Death Battle Tournament Champions, but, yeah, it's probably one of the longer spots. Holy shit, why is that 5 minutes? And now the rest of these are just, like, general, possibilities. Starting with Luz versus Anne. This is the one that's always here. It's always here until it's gonna fucking happen. But, I mean, yeah, it's, like, one of the bigger cartoon episodes. Definitely, like, the peak to have done it has passed, so hopefully they will do it soon. I don't want Lizanne to be the new fucking Colex. God, I don't want that. But, some other possibilities, and these are, like, other cartoon reps, is Finn and Jake versus Mordecai and Rigby, also known as Showtime. Just an extremely popular cartoon matchup. I think these are, like, the 2 most popular at the moment. And, like, Showtime is definitely, like, one of the big ones. The team is really into it. The cast was well received. I'm sure it did really well on the Champions poll against, like, Billcord and shit. And also, like, people might want more duo episodes, because we haven't really had one since, fucking, Ratchet and Clank vs. Jak and Daxter, like, fucking 10 years ago, when, next year? It's like 2016. So, yeah, Showtime's definitely, like, a good guess. Another one is Homer Simpson versus Peter Griffin. I mean, another case of it's a very popular cartoon matchup. Simpsons and Family Guy is just always going to be a relevant thing, but with Fortnite, the current event going on, bringing a lot of light to Simpsons, like extra light, I should say. It has good odds of happening. It's again, it's like a very popular matchup. And then my third one is Hank Hill versus Bob Belcher, King of the Hill versus Bob's Burgers. A weird one, admittedly, especially without context. But this was a matchup that got pitched. I'm going to talk about a good couple of pitched matchups. But when it was pitched to Ben and Chad, they seemed really on board with the matchup. And I think they said they kind of want to do this more than Homer Peter. So, I mean, it has good odds of happening, which is really wild to think about. I don't know how they'll do it, but I could see it happening. Surprisingly, if that does happen, that's going to be so fucking insane. Toru / Wonder of You versus SCP-096. A couple months ago, during one of the casts, they said something along the lines of, I might be misremembering here, but they have a matchup that they're working on that one of the characters don't have a lot of visual media, which led a lot of people thinking, oh, we might be getting an SCP episode, or maybe a Dungeons and Dragons. I'll talk about the possibilities here in a minute, but I very well see us getting an SCP or D&D episode next year. And the main one I'm going with is Toru versus 096. Mainly just cause, like, one, the pitch was incredibly well received by both fans and the crew, as far as I'm aware. The cast was really well received. Like, a lot of people really liked it during the cast and wanted to see it as an episode. It's hella debatable during the cast, so it probably is in their eyes right now, or like in their limelight. It's just an overall very popular matchup. It'll be a decent introduction to SCP. It's one of the most popular SCPs, and it's also like one of the more low scales as far as I can tell in terms of stats. It's not like the big cosmic bullshit as far as I'm aware, like what 682 is and that type of stuff. So I could see it happening. I could see it being a possibility. And then the other alts I have, and I think alt 1 is probably more likely than this one, but Doomsday versus 682 or 68 Doom. Like, it is the most popular SCP matchup. It's one of the most popular comic matchups. One of the most popular returner matchups. It's just incredibly, all around, a very popular matchup. The team really seems to be into it. So, I think in general, it's just like, I don't really think I need to give a much of an explanation on why 68 Doom is incredibly likely. And then the other one that does fall into, like, the not a lot of visual media is Dr. Doom versus Vecna from Dungeons and Dragons. Because D&D, very, very popular. I don't think I need to tell you that much. The crew is very much into D&D. There's been a lot of D&D campaigns and shit. Like, D&D is also a fairly popular request for people. At least along the lines of, not a lot of visual stuff to work with, but you can still make it work. And also with Stranger Things Season 5, Vecna is a character in the series. From what I could tell, I don't watch Stranger Things, but that could definitely help with, like, popularity. I mean, Doctor Doom is Marvel, and also Doctor fucking Doom. So, I think it just has really good odds. I could definitely see it's, like, probably this and 68 Doom. More likely than Toru 096. But, yeah. And then one that doesn't really fit the not a lot of visual media, it's more so the JoJo side, is Senator Armstrong versus Funny Valentines from Metal Gear and JoJo. Just because the team seems to really like this matchup. I know it's kind of lost a lot of traction as time went on because the dynamic and shit, but the team seems to still be a fan of it, at least Liam. Steel Ball Run, I think the anime for that got announced not that long ago and might be next year, so that would definitely help with popularity. It's a popular JoJo one. I'd say Kiradachi, but from the sound of it, they want to do something like a different Persona and maybe JoJo matchup before, or JoJo matchup before doing that, because it's an awesome matchup. They love it. They just don't know if they want to do like 2 Persona JoJo matchups in a row, or at least in close vicinity with each other, when debate-wise, it's generally the same, just minus the complexity of Gur. Ori versus the Knight, Ori Hollow Knight. I mean, Silk Song. Just Silk Song, really. But also, very popular matchup. Again, I'm sure it did fairly well on the Champions Ballot. The team seems to be pretty on board with the matchup. It's popular. I think I said that already. But also, indie games are highly requested for the show. It definitely seems like the team wants to do more indie stuff, especially now that they are indie. Also, you got Moro on the team, and you got this big indie game matchup. Like, hell yeah. It's also, like, one of the bigger indie game matchups that's not like, fucking Undertale. So, very good odds of happening. It's mainly Silksong, but... And then I have one alternative for this, being Sans vs. the Judge. I don't have this as a main guest this time. Wow. But mainly just because, the reason why I don't have it as a main guest is because of Flowey. With him making, like, the 16 on the island and getting fairly far in it. I think he made it, like, what, past the halfway point? Yeah, I think it was, because it was right before the teams merged, I believe. But, or at least a vote for team merging. But with that, it sounds like Undertale isn't on their radar for 26. Probably in the future, but... Because what they said before, like... the characters on the island, they're not planned to have an episode next year. That was the whole point in doing that, because a lot of people are saying, oh, don't vote for, like, this character, they're gonna get on anyways, and, you know, all that fucking shit. But, I think from the sounds of it, Undertale isn't planned for next year. I could be wrong, they might have fit, Sans Judge on the schedule, because these aren't, like, the longest games to research. I was going to say hardest, but a lot of people struggle with off. And just feel the need to downplay everything. But, I would love to be proven wrong. And, Sans Judge should have... Bleh! I can't speak. I would love to be proven wrong, and Sans vs. the Judge does happen next year. But I don't think it's super likely, sadly. I mean, there was the Off re-release that definitely put a lot of eyes back on Off, but, I'm gonna go with Sorry Night for now. I think that's probably the more likely guess. Next up is Medic vs. Richtofen, Team Fortress vs. Call of Duty. Another pitch matchup, but also just, like, a generally very popular one. I'm sure the team is aware. People really want Team Fortress on the show again. It's, like, one of the most requested returner franchises. And Medic Richtofen is definitely, like, one of the most popular ones. The team seems to be into it well enough during the cast, and they definitely probably saw, like, a lot of people were saying, like, please do this next year, please do this next year, please do this next year. And, I think it has good odds of happening. I know Liam had to fucking go through mental torment of looking through Call of Duty lore and stats and shit, so I'm sure he'll probably want to put that shit to use and do an episode. But, this is definitely one of the most popular Team Fortress matchups. It's a popular matchup in general. I could definitely see it happening next year. And then some alternative options, going more the Team Fortress route, SARS versus Soldier. Again, like, probably the most popular TF2 matchup. Also, a very popular Red versus Blue matchup. A lot of people want to see that again against Not Itself. And then also, Spy versus Agent 47. The team seems to like both of these two matchups as well. Spy 47 seemed pretty well received during the Champions fucking poll. Seems fairly popular enough. And then one that I do have as a guess, but it's not Team Fortress, is Clementine versus Ellie. Last of Us is very consistently relevant. The team seems to like this. Something just fell, and I don't know how, but... like, cans fell. I don't know how the hell that happened. I gotta pick those up. But, I mean, Clem Ellie, very popular matchup. Not very popular. It's not, like, as popular, but still popular. A lot of people still love it. The team definitely seems to be into the matchup. Also, like zombies, that's a long time request. We haven't had one of those in a while. But I could see Clemelli also being a possibility of Medic Richtofen. I'm kind of going to lead to that right now. And this is going to be like my one guess from one of the ones that got into like the 32, but not the 16 for the island. Eren Yeager versus Ken Kaneki. This is like one of the most popular anime matchups, or at least modern anime matchups. I feel like the team has to be aware of its popularity. And something I want to mention is one of the current owners of the show, Austin, during a Champions cast, talking about, you know, like the 16 that didn't make it onto the island that got voted off. He said he was really pushing for Kaneki and wants to do a Kaneki episode. I said in chat, you know, nothing stopping you from doing Aaron versus Kaneki. And then he said he also really wants to push for an Aaron matchup and a Kaneki matchup. And I just said, nothing stopping you from doing Aaron versus Kaneki. So, I think it has good odds of happening. Again, it's like very popular. I'm sure the team is aware of it. I think they have commented on it during ballot banters, and like they do like it. They have to be aware of its popularity. I see it as a very likely one for next year, probably later in the year, because they said like the ones that made it onto the island are planned for an episode next year. I don't know if that also applies to the 16 that didn't make the cuts. Because I feel like that was, what was that? That was like fucking, what, September maybe? I feel like that's in like a good enough window to where they could be like put into planning for 26. Especially keeping in mind, you know, Kratos versus Asura. That started production before the RT closure, despite losing, so yeah, it's possible. But as for some alternatives, the other, probably the biggest anime matchup, or at least the most current biggest, is Denji versus Yuji, Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen. Excuse me, but JJK, that's finished, so Yuji's story is done. Chainsaw Man, this is a hunch, but from what I've been hearing of recent chapters, I feel like the Chainsaw Man manga is probably going to end at some point next year, or at least wrap up the current arc it's on. You know, with everything I've been hearing. So, I think Denji Yuji definitely is like a pretty good case of it could happen. Also, like, these two are like some of the biggest modern Shonen Jump characters right now. Really, well, some of the biggest anime characters as of right now. JJK and Chainsaw Man both are extremely popular. Both JJK episodes done extremely well view-wise, so I could definitely see Denji Yuji next year. And then my other guess is Sailor Moon versus Madoka. Again, another really popular anime matchup. It did really well on Tournament of Champions, despite like losing its second round. But it was going against Lily Tom and fucking Crewmine, so. But also, like, they always seem really into the matchup and want to do more Magical Girl matchups. Like, during the pitch for it, Ben and Chad seem really into the matchup. Every time it comes up during the awards show for Season 9 and 10, because it won a couple awards, like art for it, and also trailers, it did really well every time, so it was either nominated or had a couple wins, so I don't know, it's definitely something on their radar. It feels like something they really do like, and with the Madoka Magica movie that should be releasing next year, I think, I don't know, I feel like every year it's been like, oh, it should be coming out, it's not out. At least I don't think it is. But, I mean, it has good odds of happening. Also, with Sailor Moon not on the islands, when she has a pretty big spread, that kind of makes me want to think she might already be planned for next year, and Madoka is definitely like her most likely. This is the last matchup that was specifically pitched, but Amori versus Room. Amori versus Boisvert. I'll say it right this time. I keep wanting to say Boys first, because, you know, American, but it's French. But, yeah, I think this one has really good odds of happening, as wild as that feels to say. But, this was pitched, like I said, and the pitch itself is probably the most well-received pitch out there. Like, it's most well-liked by fans. And I also think, like, because Ben, Chad, and then Sam and Liam, they were all shown the same pitch. They all seemed really on board with the idea. The creator of Boisvert is aware of this matchup. He gave his seal of approval. Or I should say they, I don't know their gender. I'm pretty sure he, but they gave the seal of approval for the matchup. when it got a cast, it did really well. A lot of people really seemed interested in the idea, and the crew also seemed interested in doing it. They are aware it would be a very touchy one to do, but I'm personally kind of on the fence for Amori Room. But if they're very cautious with the more sensitive topics, I think it could be a really great episode. Or at least with character coverage. I don't know about dynamic. I'm still kind of iffy on that, but that's besides the point. My opinions on these matchups mean nothing right now. But a lot of that's going for it, and also the animatic for the channel, or the series as a whole now. John, he said this is like his new most wanted matchup after Kyle versus Simon happened. So I think there's just a lot going for it to where I 100% see Omori Room happening either in 26 or 27 at the fucking latest. This could be like it'll probably be like a late episode next year, because I imagine there's a lot that you have to go into for the animation because of Beauvair's like mixed media style. But I could also maybe see them working with the guy that made it as like a little collab for that'd be cool. But I have one alternative option being Dr. Manhattan versus Richard Nixon, where it kind of fills a similar boat. Also, I forgot to mention Amori and Beauvair. People want more indie games. People want more internet series. That's not like Rooster Teeth, originally Rooster Teeth. So that was kind of fit the bill. And then Richard Nixon with Monument Mythos would also kind of fit in that little range there. So I could also see that being a possibility. Like, again, it kind of fits that similar bow of, web series, specifically, like, a horror web series. I was going to say analog horror. Is Beauvair considered analog? I don't know. But, I know, like, Man Nixon, it kind of lost traction over time. Though I did see a lot more love for it after, Nemjishin did his own little episode on it with... Fuck, I don't remember his name, I'm sorry. But when they did that, I know a lot more love came back to the matchup. So, I know the team's aware of it, because, like, Ben heard it and, like, Richard Nixon, what? And Liam does make jokes about Richard Nixon. It's probably real-life Richard Nixon, but... I don't know, I'm sure it's on their radar, they're aware of it. But, yeah, it's both kind of fill similar boats, so I wanted to mention them. But I think Amori Room would probably be more likely. And then this is like the only one where I have it at this specific spot for a reason, being Grinch versus Jack Skellington, because this is like the last episode I'm talking about, or last matchup I'm talking about, so it would be December. And it's going to be a case of, are they going to treat the December episode like a normal episode, or are they going to do the finale treatment? Excuse me, because this is like where it's kind of weird. They originally like pitched this as like it's go no stop, so we're not really doing finales anymore. But then they treated the 25 December episode as a finale. But that could also just been like they're celebrating their first full year as an indie series, so kind of going a bit big by the end of the year. So I don't know if they're going to treat the December episode for 26 as just an episode or as a finale. So, kind of take or pick whichever route you want to go with for this and the alt, but, Grinch Jack, the reason why I'm going for it is because, December, they seem really into the matchup. The matchup itself is very popular. These two characters are always extremely relevant and popular, especially Grinch. And, like, you always see Jackie Boy at fucking, Spencer's and Spirit Halloween, so he's relevant a lot more year-round. I say that as if one of those isn't a seasonal star. Point is, these are very popular. And they have before said they want to do a Christmas episode. That's definitely like the most popular. And I've heard, supposedly, they're doing a new type of animation style next year that they haven't done before. And it could maybe be stop motion for Grinch Jack. Or the mixed media shit for Amori Room. That's also a possibility if that happens. But, yeah, very popular matchup, and would definitely work for December. But assuming they're going more so the finale route, I'm gonna guess Mickey Mouse versus Bugs Bunny. Because, mainly because of Wile E. Coyote versus Tomcat, where they had to look into Looney Tunes for Wile. So, about half of the research would technically be done. Record, Mickey Mouse, still a lot of shit to look into with that. That's like, what, 100 years? Over 100 years of research you have to do, but... it's definitely eases the load a bit to have one of the big juggernauts taken care of for the most part. But if they go the finale route, I could see it being Bugs Mickey. That's definitely like a big boy matchup to give the big boy spot to of a finale. But those are like my main two guesses for the end of 26. And like these are like the 12 and alternatives I am going with, but there's a lot of matchups that could be speculated and could be more likely that I didn't even touch upon, like, you know, fucking Sackboy versus Maxwell and Metal Sonic versus Cell. But also Naruto Luffy. There's a lot of them. That fucking Kylo Ren versus Edelgard. There's a lot. That's the point here. There's a lot of matchups. And with only like 12 options and even like digging into alts, there's only so much I can cover in this. But yeah, there's a lot you could really say, but Death Battle 25, for the most part, besides like maybe the first and last episode, it was consistently hitting banger after banger. So also with some matchup quality, a lot of them like were banger after banger. Besides like the very last one. So I am hoping 26 will be able to keep that traction up all year round. You know, constantly banging matchups, constantly banging episodes. That's my hope. I know it's asking a lot because I mean to hit it out of the park every time. That's a high task, but I am excited for 26. I do hope like the episodes continue going well. I definitely think doing 4-week waiting periods helps the episodes a lot, especially having less you are working on in the span of a year. Because like yeah, this is like probably the most consistently high quality the show has ever been. So I am looking forward to what 26 offers. Like I said earlier, probably will start in February, but at some point January, probably week 2 maybe. Week 2 or 3, we'll probably learn what the premiere is, and then, you know, be the normal. We'll probably go like 1 week, this episode, premiere, or character preview, the next preview, blah, 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 you know the drill. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to 26. I hope the season goes hard, and, that's about it. Peace.